Welcome to Oyate Today. Oyate in Lakota means people. Brought to you by Native Sun News Today.
Hello and welcome to Oyate Today, a weekly show produced by Jackie and Tim Gallego, who is an enrolled member of the Ogallala Sioux tribe. And today's guest we have here is Dr. Ann Bolman, who is the current president of Western Dakota Tech. She received her Bachelor and Master of Arts in English and also received her doctoral degree in education at the A&M and also A&I University. Well, welcome, Ann, and let's just dive right in. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Nebraska and Texas. We lived outside of Omaha when I was going to junior high, and my dad got this fabulous job opportunity in South Texas. And being a mechanic, the jobs that he was used to receiving in the Nebraska area in the 70s didn't pay nearly as well as the jobs in South Texas, where there was a very big shortage in mechanics. So I wound up actually graduating from high school from H.M. King High in Kingsville, Texas. And then I went on to school in Texas as well, as you introduced.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And then I guess take us a little bit into the journey of how you got into education and, where did that passion begin?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I've thought about that very hard. My dad is probably the person that inspired me the most to go into education. As I said a minute ago, my dad is an automotive mechanic, and at the time when he was going into his trade, really there weren't that many technical schools in the country. But in Nebraska and South Dakota, the Iowa area, people had a really good knack for bringing in new mechanics into the field, and I don't think they had a formal apprenticeship type program, but my dad worked with experienced mechanics and learned his trade. But one thing that was really unique, I think, about my dad is that he wanted to be an excellent mechanic, and so not only did he learn from the people in the field, but he also would bring the service manuals from the shop home at night. And he would read through them very carefully. So as a little kid, here's my dad with these thick service manuals, because nothing was on the internet yet.
Oh, I know, back in the day.
And reading so he would understand how to do the jobs that came into the shop that day, so that he would understand both the theory background as well as, working with the older mechanics to understand some of the practical application. So he was really, I think that is where my real interest in education started. My dad and mom are really wise people. They didn't have a chance to go to college. But my dad, every time we would move to a town for a better job for him, it was always in a town that had a university or a college, so that his kids would have one less barrier to be able to go on to school. So there was just really an assumption and a lot of encouragement for all of us kids, and I'm the oldest in the family, to go on to college. It wasn't like they didn't force us to, but it was, you find your gifts. If you're a skilled mechanic, or if you're good at reading and writing, which happened to be my case, then you find your gifts and you develop them as well as you can. And then you help with your gifts to put other people on the road. And with my dad's field, that's literal,
Yeah.
I mean, he's helping people who come in get their car repaired so that they can get back on the road. But that's an attitude that really, when I think about my passion in education and the focus that I took, that's really what had the biggest impact for me. It's because I focused on students who were having a hard time getting into the regular English classes that they might have to take. Those students were technical students most of the time. And so here I am, I'm doing the same thing my dad did. I'm helping people get the skills up so that they can get on the road to whatever educational future they have their gifts in. So that's I think it really boils back down to my dad and kind of his inspiration, and I think sort of an overall confidence that our higher power sets us on this path and gives us the tools and the equipment and we develop them and we use them to help other people.
Well, we're really thankful to have people like you out there.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it's needed. It's always needed. It's always a necessity.
And one of the things that I think is very important too is I get help from so many people myself. I personally cannot do my own plumbing. I personally cannot take care of myself or my relatives in the hospital. So I depend on other people who have gifts in those areas, and I use my gifts to help them in the ways that I can. So it's a big, very big, strong teaching in my family. That's, I think, been the biggest influence on my career.
Mm-hmm. Well, professionally, I guess take us a little bit through where that began professionally.
Sure. Probably I got my start realizing that I had strengths in helping people with reading and writing because I have a brother who had to be in special reading, my younger brother. And at the time, way back in the dinosaur days, in the 1970s, people didn't realize as much about learning disabilities. So my brother probably is dyslexic, but they couldn't identify those things. And he really struggled with his English classes, especially in high school. So he needed help from somebody that was a strength of mine. So I helped tutor my brother, and I knew he was such a bright person with so much potential. Just help him get through some of the classes and learn some of the skills, break them down so that they were things he could see how to apply. And that's kind of where I learned how to do that first. Then when I was in college, I was so interested in different cultures. I started out by studying foreign languages because I wanted to understand how other people see the world. And as I got into my bachelor's degree in English, I realized, you know, I'm working really hard to understand where other people are coming from, and I have this ability to help people understand how to write better. I think that's a good field for me to start working in, and I was here again very lucky because of my faculty members at the university in Kingsville who saw that I had some talent there and asked me to start teaching some college students, just part-time as a teaching assistant. And oh my gosh, I found my niche. It was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I focused in my master's degree actually on how to teach people to write, which was really a new field in the 1980s, back in the dinosaur era again. And then as I had a chance to work on my doctorate a few years later, they had developed a specialty at Texas A&M where I could actually focus on how to help underprepared adult learners with their reading and writing skills so that they could be prepared to do well in whichever field they taught in college, you know, they were going to take in college. And then I got a job working at a community college where, as I said earlier, the students that I was working with in these classes for underprepared adults, most of the time were students who were going into technical fields. And when they were in high school, they were really focused on the things that they were interested in, and English was not one of them, which I understood because my dad being a mechanic, I had a pretty good perspective on all of the different types of interests and skills and abilities that people have. So I was always happy to talk to their faculty members in their fields so that I could understand how to help the students learn the skills so they could apply them to their technical field. And that was very exciting to me because I was helping the students with their skills, but I was also helping them with a really direct application. And so, you know, the rest is because I think sort of like a mechanic. My dad likes to understand not just how to fix a carburetor in
Yeah.
the old cars or the fuel injection systems, but he likes to understand the whole system. So it was kind of like that too with education. I wanted to kind of understand how the whole system works, so I wound up as an administrator.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but
Okay.
we'll get into that when we return after a word from our sponsors.
Around here, you work hard and you play hard. In the Black Hills, on the prairie, and in towns and cities all across this great land. And when you need help, your neighbors are there too. Like Regional Health. Regional Health, helping patients and communities live well.
Our school has great students and dedicated teachers, but we need our community volunteers to help us to provide a broader view of the many ways a good education can point to a bright future.
Did someone say volunteer? Our team at Black Hills is here to help. In fact, we sponsor events and projects, and our employees volunteer for organizations throughout the Black Hills, including partnering with schools to help students learn more about life outside the classroom. Extracurricular, extra fun.
We are not so different, you and I. We may be from different places, but the sun that greets me in the morning, the sun that warms the hills, is the same sun that greets you. We are all connected. We are all family. Mitakuye Oyase.
Some look at tomorrow as a day just waiting to happen. For others, it's different. It's an open door, a promise. It's where learning finds life, and where passion finds a path ahead to something bigger and brighter. This is what tomorrow looks like to us. It's time to learn. It's time to do, because your time and your tomorrow start now. Western Dakota Tech.
Welcome back to Oyate Today, and I'm your host, Sharice Abernathy. And today's guest, we are here visiting with Dr. Ann Bolman, who is the current president of Western Dakota Tech. Before the break, we were discussing a little bit about your background. And professionally, you got started, we left off, I guess, when you got into administration. And I guess let's continue on with that. How did you?
Sure. As an administrator, I really began to understand how I could help take something that's an idea like a mission and help make it a reality for faculty and most importantly for our students. So the mission, I think, at Western Dakota Tech is one that I was very drawn to. As I went through administration and I worked at 3 different colleges in Texas, I really began to appreciate more than anything else the technical areas in the colleges. I think it's very important because you can give people a chance for a pretty short period of time, a year or two, to put in some educational time and then go out and make really good money. For a lot of people, that is the opportunity that really sets them up for life. Because once you get out there and have that really first good paying job, then really you can do anything that you want to do from there on out. And that is so important with the economy these days that I wanted to see how I could make that happen. And that really ties in with the mission at Western Dakota Tech very tightly. So I was so excited when I started looking at president's jobs, because I had done a lot of different administrative work in Texas, and I really wanted to use my talents and skills to make a difference and really bring all of my experience and my God-given talents to bear on making the world better for students that we could affect. So Western Dakota Tech, when I interviewed there, I was so impressed with how focused the faculty members are and the staff on helping students be successful, how they take such great effort to figure out ways to make courses available to students. If it's if it's a course that we can put online, faculty members are interested in doing that. Faculty members take their work very seriously and want to always stay on top of their field. And so they really care about students not only making it through their programs, but then also getting that really good first good paying job out there. So
that's important to have people who really care in what they do. It's just, I mean, that energy to carry on, and when they deal with people, it's just important.
Absolutely. It is a place that is Western Dakota Tech is a place that is a very high caring and high touch sort of environment. So I think we work very hard to help support students, help them feel like we want them there, they're welcome there, and doing the things above and beyond that are necessary in order to help students overcome whatever barriers they are.
Well, can you explain the difference between a technical college and other colleges and universities?
Sure, and I think that's a really important thing for people to keep in mind too. Technical colleges, I think in Rapid City, sometimes people think about Western Dakota Tech as a VOTech, but it's very important. We haven't lost that focus on career and going out there and having a particular job, but the technical part is what has really expanded, because technology is part of everything that we do in every field these days. So those technical components are the things that we make sure that our students are particularly good at and trained in, and we also have we really focus on what I was talking about earlier with whatever you're learning. Now, how are you going to apply that? So our facility has laboratory space, it has specialized equipment, and the students are using those special learning environments and that special equipment because that's what they're going to be using in the workplace. In a university, in contrast, there is a lot more emphasis on theory, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the theoretical basis a lot of times leaves it up to the student who's learning to figure out later how to apply it, whereas we're focusing on both the theory, the technology, and the direct application. We have a lot of input at the technical college from our advisory boards. So we have employers in the area in every field that we have a program in who are giving us input about what's going to help make the students in the program have that little bit more of an edge to be able to get that awesome job when they finish up. So I think that's really what the difference between a technical college and university is. It's our connection to business and industry, our connection to doing things more hands-on. Universities, a lot more theory and a lot more left to the learner to pull all the pieces together, I think. And as I said, there is nothing wrong with it. It really is what we want to make sure that people in our area understand the benefits of technical education, because many people have gifts and a lot of interest in those areas, and we want them to feel like it's not a lesser choice than a university, which is kind of going against the tide.
Well, what kind of programs does Western Dakota Tech offer?
Well, we have so many programs that are in the healthcare fields, and I think that's a surprise for a lot of people. I think in our area, traditionally, we had, and we still do, have programs like automotive repair. We have programs in diesel mechanics. We've got welding. We have electrical trades. We have plumbing, HVAC. We have a lot of the traditional areas that you would expect. We also have many very good paying health careers as well. And a lot of fields, when you go into a hospital or a clinic, everybody wearing scrubs, a lot of people assume that those are all nurses. That is not true. Could be a surge tech from Western Dakota Tech. It could be one of our health information management folks through, that help make sure all the records are correct.
All right, well, I'm going to cut you short there.
Sure.
But when we return, we'll get further into that
All right.
after a quick word from our sponsors.
Some look at tomorrow as a day just waiting to happen. For others, it's different. It's an open door, a promise. It's where learning finds life, and where passion finds a path ahead to something bigger and brighter. This is what tomorrow looks like to us. It's time to learn. It's time to do, because your time and your tomorrow start now. Western Dakota Tech.
Native Sun News has been voted the best weekly newspaper in its class for 2015 by the South Dakota and North Dakota Newspaper Associations. You can find a copy of the Native Sun News at many businesses and vending machines in Rapid City and the surrounding area, and on all 9 reservations. We publish every Wednesday, so advertisers and subscribers can reach our diverse readership by calling 605-721-1266. The Native Sun News covers the other side of the story.
Welcome back to Oyate Today. I am your host, Sharissa Abernathy, and today's guest we have Dr. Ann Bolman, who is the current president of Western Dakota Tech. Before the break, we were discussing kind of the programs that are offered at Western Dakota Tech. Now, I do hear Western Dakota Tech has a strong Native American club. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. One thing that Western Dakota Tech is very proud of is the fact that we are the only non-tribal Native American serving institution of higher learning in South Dakota. So that means that we've got a very high percentage of Native American students that attend Western Dakota Tech. In fact, 11%. I think part of the reason that Native American students feel supported and very welcome there obviously has to do with our faculty members and all of the staff that we have, but also we have a very active Eagle Feather Society. Our Eagle Feather Society sponsor is Kim Betliun, and she has been working as a success coach at Western Dakota Tech for a year. She is awesome. Our Eagle Feather Society students are awesome as well. They are they're probably the most active group on our campus. They have community service projects that they take on. It seems like just about every week they have something new. Last year they collected books for children for the literacy work going on in the area. They did an angel tree to help collect Christmas gifts for our students whose kids were maybe not going to get the best presents and things. And they also have the very special ceremony at the end of the year, the Eagle Feather ceremony, and we were so honored this year to have many Native American people come in their regalia. Whitney Rencounter helped us with organizing, helped our students, and I was so honored to ask to be part of the procession, and Kim made sure that I had a shawl so that I could carry a shawl. It's special, and it just is this supportive, accepting environment that it creates for the Native students, but for all of the students that we have with so many different types of diversity and different backgrounds.
Well, that's important.
Yes.
Well, take us through the enrollment process.
We have worked so hard to make our enrollment process much more user-friendly. We have what's called a one-stop shop, and it's not just a place. Our admissions folks, and here again, we're honored. We have a new person on the team, Michelle Crazy Thunder, who's going to be jumping in there from Rapid City Schools to help us. Basically, we walk students through the process. So a counselor like Michelle will take a student, help make sure that they have their application completed, get them started on financial aid, and walk them through the whole process so that students are not being bounced from place to place. And we try very hard to get the whole process done in one visit so that students don't have to keep coming back and forth with information and that kind of thing. So we have really worked very hard to make it a seamless, very simple process. And our success coaches in our student success area work hand in hand with the folks that we have in admissions. And they are an awesome team, both in admissions with financial aid and student accounts, and working with our Student Success Center.
Okay, where can people go to get that info? And
Sure. Well, we have a website which is very updated and easy to navigate, and that is www.wdt.edu. So we have a phone number as well, 1-800-544-8765 is the phone number, and you will be able to be connected very quickly to an admissions counselor or whoever is needed in order to help the person get moving in the process.
okay, and then now it's online and on campus too, right?
Correct. We have programs that are online. We also have been, there are some skills like welding and some of the emergency fields that you have to have hands-on. So some of our programs have not only gone just online or just hands-on, but they're a mix. And our EMT program, our EMT instructor has really been working with the tribal communities in a hybrid. So students take the lecture part online and they come to campus once or twice a week to do the hands-on part, and that really works well as well. So we're really trying to figure out the delivery methods that work the best for our students. And online is huge as far as for business and accounting and many of the classes that you can learn online because the skills are more with reading and writing and math and those types of things. So, yes.
Well, that's great. I want to thank you for joining us and giving us all the info on how to get involved, and if you're interested in going to Western Dakota Tech. So thank you, Dr. Ann. Thank you to Black Hills Fox, and we'll see you next time.
You've been watching Oyate Today, brought to you by Native Son News Today.